How many times have you looked up at the stars and wondered about the vastness of space? How many times have you gazed at the deep waters of the ocean and contemplated the mysteries hidden beneath its surface? And how many stories have you heard of mythical creatures from days gone by? Have you ever wondered if there might be more truth than fiction to these age-old tales? Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nightforge. Today we're diving into the world of cryptids and uncovering the secrets of the past. Join me on this journey as we explore the terrifying truths behind famous cryptids like the mermaid, the minotaur, the phoenix, and the cyclops. What you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. You won't believe what actually lurked in the shadows of ancient Greece. So stay tuned because we're about to take you on a wild ride through time. And let's just say you'll never look at mermaids the same way again. First, let's talk about the Sirens' Song. The Song of the Sirens is a haunting melody that has echoed through time, captivating the hearts and minds of those who have heard it. But what many don't know is that the roots of this tale can be traced back to ancient Greece, where the truth behind the sirens' origins is both fascinating and terrifying. In Greek mythology, the sirens were not the beautiful, enchanting creatures often depicted in modern tales, but rather grotesque monsters with the heads of women and the bodies of birds. They lived on an island and lured sailors to their deaths with their mesmerizing yet deadly songs. These creatures were so terrifying that even the great hero Odysseus had to resist their call, or he would have met his demise. The truth of the matter is that these creatures didn't just exist in myth. There were real-life creatures that inspired these tales. You see, during the days of ancient Greece, the seas were filled with all sorts of sea creatures, many of which were unknown to modern man, and one particular creature that caught the attention of the Greeks was the manatee. These large, gentle creatures were often seen grazing on the seagrass meadows, and the Greeks, with their vivid imaginations, saw something otherworldly in their slow, graceful movements. They believed that these gentle giants were actually sirens in disguise, using their size and speed to lure unsuspecting sailors to their doom. This belief was further fueled by the fact that manatees are known to congregate around shipwrecks, where they feed on the rotting wood and metal. To the Greeks, this behavior only confirmed their belief that manatees were actually evil creatures looking to devour the souls of those who dared to venture too clothed. It's no wonder that the Greeks created such terrifying tales of the sirens. After all, they were trying to explain the unexplainable. They didn't have the knowledge to understand the true nature of sea creatures. So they created myths and legends that both explained the things they saw and warned others of the dangers lurking in the depths of the ocean. And while we now know that manatees are not actually evil water demons, it's still a good idea to be cautious when you're out in the water. You never know what you might encounter. Now let's move on to our next cryptid, the minotaur. The minotaur, a creature of legend, is said to have roamed the halls of a labyrinth, preying on unsuspecting victims. But did you know that this terrifying beast may have been inspired by a very real phenomenon? Back in the days of ancient Greece, the streets of Athens were crowded and unsanitary. Garbage piled up in the streets, and residents had to navigate piles of waste to get around. It wasn't uncommon for people to get lost in the maze of narrow alleys and winding pathways. And when that happened, they were at risk of being attacked by packs of stray dogs. These vicious canines were large, aggressive, and hungry for human flesh. They would roam the streets at night, hunting for vulnerable prey. And for the people of ancient Greece, it must have felt like they were living in a nightmare. That's why the Greeks began to tell stories of a terrible monster that lurked in the city, a beast that could only be defeated by a brave hero. These tales served as a warning to the citizens of Athens, a reminder that danger could strike at any moment, and that even the mightiest of monsters could be brought down by a hero. Of course, we now know that the streets of Athens were simply a product of their time, a reflection of the challenges and realities of living in an ancient city. But the impact of these stories on the people of ancient Greece cannot be overstated. They created a shared sense of fear and unity among the population, binding them together in the face of adversity. And while the minotaur may not have been real, the stray dogs that roamed the streets of Athens certainly were. Their presence created a real-life labyrinth of danger, forcing the people of Athens to navigate not only physical obstacles, but also the threat of animal attacks. It's a testament to the power of storytelling that the Greeks were able to transform a real-life problem into a legendary tale that has captivated audiences for centuries. Moving on, let's discuss the phoenix. The phoenix, a magnificent bird that rose from its own ashes, is a symbol of immortality and renewal. But did you know that this legendary creature may have been inspired by a very real bird that still exists today? In ancient Greece, The phoenix was said to live for 500 years before building a nest of spices and herbs and setting itself ablaze. From the ashes, a new phoenix would rise, beginning the cycle anew. While this tale is undoubtedly fascinating, it raises questions about the veracity of such a fantastical story. Were the ancient Greeks merely spinning a yarn? Or was there a kernel of truth hidden within the myth? Well, thanks to modern science, we now know that there was indeed a bird that may have inspired the tale of the phoenix. The hoopoe, a large colorful bird found in Africa and Asia, was known to the ancient Greeks as the phoenix, like its mythical counterpart. The hoopoe is known for its unique appearance and its ability to rise from the ashes. In fact, the hoopoe was often seen foraging for food near burnt areas, where it would eat the insects that were attracted to the smoke. To the Greeks, this behavior must have seemed like magic, and it's easy to see how they came to believe that the hoopoe was actually a phoenix rising from the flames. So while the phoenix may not be immortal, as the ancient Greeks believed, it's still a remarkable creature that continues to inspire awe and wonder in those who see it. Next, let's talk about the mermaid. The mermaid, a creature of beauty and mystery, has captivated the human imagination for centuries. But what many don't realize is that this enchanting myth may have been inspired by a much darker reality. In ancient Greece, the goddess Amphitrite was said to have been carried to her husband's side by sea nymphs after she gave birth to their son. However, according to some accounts, the sea nymphs weren't quite what they appeared to be. They were actually malevolent creatures that forced Amphitrite into a vase and threw her into the ocean. It was only by pure chance that she was discovered by Poseidon, who then made her immortal and allowed her to roam the seas as a mermaid. This dark twist to the familiar mermaid myth reveals a much different perspective on these creatures. Instead of the innocent, enchanting beings often portrayed in modern tales, ancient Greek mythology depicts them as dangerous and deceitful. The story of Amphitrite serves as a warning to those who venture too close to the sea, reminding them that not all who dwell in the depths are friendly. But the truth doesn't end there. In fact, it goes much deeper. The ancient Greeks believed that mermaids were not just mythological creatures, but actual beings that lived in the sea. They described mermaids as having the upper body of a woman and the tail of a fish, and they believed that these creatures were skilled in healing and had the ability to control the weather. However, they also believed that mermaids were incredibly dangerous, and that they could easily lure sailors to their deaths. According to Greek mythology, mermaids were often seen around shipwrecks, where they would feed on the corpses of the crew. This gruesome detail adds a terrifying twist to the already chilling tales of these creatures. But the most shocking revelation about mermaids in Greek mythology is their connection to death. The ancient Greeks believed that mermaids were the souls of women who had died in childbirth. They believed that these souls were trapped in the bodies of fish and were doomed to wander the oceans forever. This stark and haunting belief adds a new layer of tragedy to the mermaid myth, and serves as a reminder of the brutal realities of life in ancient Greece. Finally, let's move on to the Cyclops. The Cyclops, a creature of immense strength and ferocity, is a staple of Greek mythology, with a single eye in the middle of its forehead. This giant was said to be the son of the Titaness Gaia and the god of the sky Uranus. The Cyclops were known for their skills in metalworking, particularly their ability to forge thunderbolts for Zeus. However, despite their impressive craftsmanship, the Cyclops were also feared for their brute strength and violent temper. One of the most famous Cyclops is Polyphemus, who is said to have captured Odysseus and his crew and imprisoned them in his cave. Odysseus managed to escape by blinding Polyphemus and escaping on the back of a ram. This encounter left a lasting impression on Odysseus, who boasted about his victory over the Cyclops. However, this proved to be a fatal mistake as it angered Poseidon, who made Odysseus wander the seas for 10 years before finally reaching home. The truth is that the Cyclops may have been more than just a figment of the ancient Greeks' imaginations. Some scholars believe that the Cyclops were based on a real group of people who lived in ancient Greece. These people were known as the Cyclops, and they were a small group of isolated villagers who lived in the mountains of a region called. The Cyclopi were known for their large size and strength, as well as their fierce independence and warlike nature. They were also skilled craftsmen and metalworkers, which is similar to the Cyclops in Greek mythology. Some scholars believe that the ancient Greeks encountered the Cyclopi during their travels around the Mediterranean, and that they based the Cyclops myth on their experiences. Others believe that the Cyclops were a purely mythological creation, but that the ancient Greeks drew inspiration from real-life sources when creating these legendary creatures. And that's a wrap, folks. Did you find this video informative or entertaining? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.